And this is 36, the podcast. Podcast. 36, the podcast. And this is 36, the podcast.
What's up, Fairbanks? What's up, Fairbanks North Star Borough? My name is Tilden.
I'm Jeff.
And I'm Brandon.
And this is 36 the Podcast. Today, we're at Black Spruce, one of the most recognizable brands in Fairbanks beer, with Carey and Stephanie. And we're diving into creativity, identity, and what it takes to stand out in a growing scene in Fairbanks. So, before we get into the meat and potatoes, what we are going to do is we are going to talk a little bit about a beer that they produce. And Brandon, go ahead and take it away.
Yeah, so this was really interesting to me because not only was this done with one of our previous guests, Mr. George Bender, who is the, hold on, I do, 168th AMXS.
Okay.
So he was telling me that throughout the year they do team building exercises. Usually it's like helping the food bank or things like that. But once a year he gets to do something fun. And he was telling me about how he collaborated with Carey here to make this beer, which is called the Raven. Where'd it go? And it is a, what is it again? It's a golden.
It's a Belgian golden strong ale.
Yes. And so I wanted to give it a try. George says it was very good. He said he had a lot of fun, but my question for you, Carey, is what was the experience like working with the troops and making that beer? Was it a lot of fun?
Yeah, so this is actually the second time we've done something with George and his squadron doing one of their kind of like team building exercises. And they're a lot of fun. I try and get them as hands-on as they can, moving hoses around, hooking up clamps, measuring out different things we add for the beer, cracking the malt, weighing out the hops, adding the hops. They always ask a lot of questions, and they're, the maintenance squad, so they're very inquisitive in all the workings in the brew house and kind of the engineering side of things. So it's always a lot of fun. And this go around, it was cool. I've brewed a beer with George before. He did one of my tattoos, so we did kind of a fun beer around that. And so worked with George on deciding to do the Belgian Golden Strong Ale, which is always fun because we don't do a lot of Belgian beers here. So it's cool to do one of those every once in a while. And I think it turned out really well. And yeah, they were a huge part of the brew day process. So they're really good.
This is a nice brew right here.
It's actually got a lot of flavor. I like it.
What's the what's the strength of this son of a gun right here?
I think it finished out at like 6.8%.
Oh yeah, I could taste that too. yeah, because it's hit. Because it hit you pretty good. So you got to be careful with these guys.
Yeah.
But they do taste good. And so kudos to George and his airmen out there at the Eielson Air Force Base. I did not know that you guys. Not only you can fly some cool jets and planes, but you also know how to brew a mean
Belgian Golden Strong Ale.
Belgian Golden Strong Ale. So kudos to you guys.
Cheers.
And this is a good one right here.
Thank you.
All right, this is definitely a good one. Okay, so before we get into the meat and potatoes, this is 36 on tap, and what we're doing for our second season, this is the second brewery where we are going to interview the owners and get a glimpse into a day in the life of what they do and how they make things operate to where you're getting that finished product. So we've gotten a couple of requests to come to Healy, and we've also gotten a request. Hey, can you make it down to Anchorage? And so you guys down for doing that?
I'm down for anything.
Exactly. But now, so I will say this right here, though. So if we do eventually get down to Anchorage, we're going to need a place to stay. All right. So we'll let you guys marinate on that. But in this series, we're hitting up all the interior breweries. And so next on tap, well, we'll worry about that when we get to the end of the questions. But on that note, are you guys ready?
Yeah.
I'm just wondering, like, maybe should we make everybody wait and make season 3 be the state of Alaska and just go all around?
Oh yeah, you know what though? That would be pretty cool though, huh? I mean, but we're gonna have to figure out how to monetize our podcast though. I haven't figured that out yet. So once we figure out how to monetize our podcast, then we're gonna make that happen. We're definitely gonna make that happen. So without any further ado, let's get started. All right. So Carey, Stephanie, how are you guys doing?
Doing well. Thanks for having us.
All right, not a problem. Thank you guys for taking some time out of your busy schedule in order to sit down with us and answer a few questions. So, how did each of you end up in the brewing world?
Carey and I both came to it independently. I think our origin stories are pretty similar to most other professionals I know, and that like we started home brewing, thought that was really fun. Wouldn't it be a fun job? And so I have done just about everything on the sales, retail, and distribution side of the industry at this point. And I think same could be said for Carey, but of the production side.
Okay, got you.
Yeah, I started homebrewing in college. Went to University of Oregon, was studying chemistry there. Started homebrewing, had some friends that were really into it, and got further into the science and art of it, and really enjoyed doing it. Got a internship at a brewery in Eugene for a little bit, and then decided that I wanted to do more education in brewing, and so went to Scotland for a year and did my master's in brewing and distilling.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, it was awesome. Learned a ton. Met friends that I still have to this day, that colleagues in the industry that I can bounce ideas off and stuff, and then came back to the States and ended up getting a job in Spokane, Washington. And I was brewing there, and then that's where Steph got hired on as a sales rep. And at least as far as I remember, I got to give her the brewery tour of all the new sales team. And we hit it off, and now we're here in Fairbanks running Black Spruce.
Okay. All right. Okay. So what made you choose Fairbanks though?
So I grew up here in Fairbanks.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So me and then
all
Jake, our third owner, we grew up here together. And,
Got you.
And my folks live up here still, so had that connection here.
Got you. All right. Good to go.
All right. So, when did Black Spruce become a real thing for you guys?
I think like a lot of folks who, are working at a brewery in any capacity, you think like, wouldn't that be fun to run my own place? Here's what I would do, so on and so forth. And Carey and I were living in Arizona before we moved up here. And Carey had been kind of kicking around the idea of maybe doing a place down there with a friend, which, we've now had the privilege of working in breweries in several states, including Arizona. Each one has their own intricacies and scene and vibe and this, that, and the other. And I remember them like kind of kicking around name and brand ideas and like a lot of fun ideas, but like nothing was quite sticking. Nothing like really stood out. And that was for doing something in Arizona. But while we were living there, we had gone to visit Jake, as Carey mentioned, our third business partner and owner. And as Carey said, Jake grew up here as well. He and his wife were living in Colorado and had been planning to move up here anyway. For myself, being the one who didn't grow up here, then I had already visited Fairbanks a couple of times, around solstice in the summer when it's the midnight sun and it's magical, and I had no idea about the winter or anything like that. Then it was like, oh, that sounds really cool. Good for you guys. And at the time, thinking about Fairbanks, at the time there was really only one game in town. Like Hoodoo was open, but there weren't the three other breweries in town that there are right now. So we certainly saw space in the market. And I don't remember exactly how Black Spruce got thrown into the mix, but it like seemed like it happened very organically, and like that really stuck. There wasn't like a, well, what about this? What about that? It was just like, oh no, that seems right. So we landed on that pretty quickly with Jake that followed through our business plan and all of our musings and formulations and things like that. And then we moved up here from Arizona in October of 17. We signed the lease for this space in February of 18. We wanted to remodel and be open by the end of 2018, which anyone who's done any sort of remodel or construction knows it's going to take twice as long and cost 4 times as much. But to, I think, still our genuine shock and amazement, we opened before the end of 2018, less than, 10, 11 months after the fact. We opened with 10 days to spare. Our grand opening was on December 21st of 2018. And now here we are, still called Black Spruce Brewing and still rolling.
So how has the vision changed since you guys opened Black Spruce? Or has it changed?
I think it's stayed pretty similar. I know Steph and I were just talking about this, so she can elaborate a little bit more.
Yeah, I mean, I was doing some onboarding with some new hires just the last couple of days, and like looking through our employee handbook, the first thing is like, here's our mission statement. And it's like, I think it is the same one that we drafted, 9 years ago when we were doing our business plan. And as I was reading it and thinking like, wow, we've actually stayed like very true to what we set out to do, which was being community focused, having a welcoming space, wanting to support local philanthropic causes. So I think we've stayed pretty on the nose as far as what we want to do for the community. And then I'll let Carey speak to as far as the technical side of creating what we sell. I think we've stayed true to that as well.
Yeah, I think for me, a big part of opening the brewery and kind of having creative control has been twofold. Part of it is continuous improvement and always trying to stay on top of brewing science and, listening to a lot of brewing podcasts. And actually in a couple weeks, I'm going down to Hood River for a brewing conference that I've gone to a number of times. Always trying to stay on top of current trends and best practices. And then also always experimenting with beers and new hop products, new malts, new yeast, and never resting on our laurels, and always trying to make the beer just incrementally better and try and dial in our processes as much as possible.
Got you. Okay. So, Stephanie, you don't have to answer this right here, but I'm going to ask him because I want to get this. So I'm trying to wrap my head around this timeline before I ask this next question. So how old are you? Because you've talked about Scotland. You guys lived in Arizona. So what's the time frame of all this stuff, and how old are you?
I am 36.
Good Lord.
I'm 35. I started working in craft beer when I was 22, and I think May will be my 14th anniversary of working in the industry.
Oh, and so in between all that time, you managed to get to Scotland and take a course in Scotland, and then you're relocated to Arizona, and then that eventually brought you back. So a time frame of what? About 15 years or so, 14, 15 years?
Yeah, 14 or so.
Yeah.
Now, so was that when you first decided to get serious about being brewers?
Yeah, I had my first craft beer job when I was 22. And then since then I've worked in gastropubs, I've worked at big retailers, I've worked for distributors, I've worked for, I think Black Spruce is my 4th brewery that I've worked for in my time. So the lion's share of my time has been in Alaska because we had our 7th anniversary of Black Spruce in December. And then I've lived up here for 8 years. And so the 6 years prior to that was between mostly Washington and then Arizona as well.
Oh, awesome. Okay. So was there a moment that you guys thought that this might not work?
Not really. No, I feel like we've stayed pretty true to what we set out to do. And I think we're also really realistic about our industry and recognizing new trends and new opportunities. And, it's always tough to be chasing trends. And, I've heard it said better to just stay ahead of it and do what works for you, which I think we have done on the whole. And I think the fact that we haven't been afraid to adapt has completely been to our benefit
Yeah.
because, I mean, as even just walking into our tap room, anyone could tell you, like, this is a different space than it was in December of 2018, like in many, many ways. And I think that that's really worked for us, and we're more just kind of looking to continue improving and continue, adding to our brand and growing as craft beer professionals and members of the Fairbanks community. So it's not really a thought that I've had, but I mean, who doesn't doubt themselves at some point?
Gotcha. Okay, not a problem. Not a problem.
Not to say that there haven't been a lot of challenges, and I think we all remember 2020, 2021, 2022.
Yeah.
I remember coming here during those COVID years. It was ooh.
Yeah, that was like to black that out of my memory as much as possible.
No doubt.
All right. Excuse me. So which beer best represents your brewery?
I think the beer that best represents Black Spruce is Aroma Dome.
Yeah.
That was, I think, what we're most well known for. The first beer that we brewed here was Aroma Dome. It's about 40% of our production, so a lot. Definitely the beer that I brew the most, and the beer that has changed the most. I think kind of the soul of Aroma Dome has remained the same. But talking again about like that continuous improvement and, new hop products, there's a lot of advanced hop products out now that can pack a lot of punch.
Yeah.
So kind of incremental tweaks on that beer have, I think, improved it. With any beer that has kind of a cult following, there are always going to be people that aren't as thrilled about the changes.
Yeah.
But I kind of look at it as a living document that has the free will to change.
Yeah. So I'll tell you. So I'm not really an IPA guy, right? So I'm a Pilsner. I'm a golden ale type of guy, right? However, whenever I come here, like right now, these guys will be surprised to know that I'm right now in my cup here is Aroma Dome. And so so I come here, so that's my jam, right? So I'm like, okay, give me an Aroma Dome. I'm not an IPA guy. However, when I come here to Black Spruce, that's my jam right there. So you guys do have a cult following with this Aroma Dome right here. Like anytime you go and we talk about the different breweries in town, the one thing people say about Black Spruce is, oh yeah, the Aroma Dome. And I'm like, yeah. Okay, and so that kind of sucked me into the whole Aroma Dome thing. So it's like, I'm going to Black Spruce, so Aroma Dome. Yeah, I just thought I'd add that in there. I like to segue a little bit.
So the Aroma Dome is really good, but my favorite from you guys right now, and has been for many years, is the Sluice Box.
Yeah,
really like that beer.
Yeah, we've started producing that one more often. Like we've had it off and on over the years, but it's kind of nice to just have, more or less like an amped up version of Aroma Dome in many ways. Just Sluice Box comparatively a little bit more full bodied, a little bit higher ABV, a little bit extra juicy. Like Aroma Dome is a very juicy style IPA, but nice to have just something a little different. We try to cast a wide net, and a lot of that net seems to catch IPA drinkers. Obviously, we have other options like the Belgian Golden Strong Ale, but I'm glad you're enjoying it so much. We've done a lot of different double IPAs over the years, and it's been kind of nice to have one reliable one to come back to.
Yeah, it seems like every time I do make it over here, that it's on tap, and I really like that. So
Yeah.
Speaking of the beers, you guys make a lot of different beers, and I feel like you experiment a lot. How do you balance creativity with consistency?
Yeah, good question. I think a big part of that is kind of like when I was talking about Aroma Dome, like changing it. Most of the time, if I'm going to change something, I try and do just an incremental change. So it's little tweaks here and there, which over time can amount to bigger changes, but trying to do it as slow as possible and in a controlled fashion. And because we do produce it so frequently, we often have multiple batches going at once. So if I am changing something, I can taste a little bit. They're not always in the exact same place process-wise, but can kind of taste one batch compared to the other to see how big of an impact those smaller changes are impacting it. And then I think part of the consistency comes from that creativity, because we are always doing a lot of different one-off beers. We have a little bit more freedom to go a little bit more off the wall on one, try something that's going to drastically change the beer.
Yeah.
So obviously, hopefully it tastes good, but can use those kind of one-off beers to inform how we want to change our more, kind of mainstay flagship beers.
Right. Okay. Good deal. All right. So, I remember tasting my first sour, or so is it correct for me to say, is a Goza, is that a sour, or am I off on a different tangent right now?
Goza is a sour.
Okay, yeah. Okay, so I remember when I first got here, and they had the annual. They've only had it once since we've been here. It was the chicken wing and beer at the Carlson Center when I first got here. It had to either be 2018 or 2019. And that was the first time I ever had a Goza sour, and I fell in love with it. And so you guys are known for your sours, right?
Yeah.
And I'm a regular kind of guy, but I come here for your sours. So having said that, and like you guys do a different variety of them from time to time. All right. So what's your most experimental brew?
Our most experimental brew. Yes, we have done a lot of different sours, and I think, and I'll see if Steph has a different answer here, but I think our most experimental brew is we do a collaboration with the Bun on the Run every summer. And I think it must have been our second year. We did a carrot cake.
A carrot cake?
Milkshake IPA.
Really?
And that's one of their, one of my favorites of their like kind of baked goods they do at the Bun on the Run is a carrot cake.
Yeah.
And they do it a little differently. They do a little bit of pineapple in it, and it has, I think, like a little like Grand Marnier in the frosting. So it's got a little hint of orange. And so we wanted to emulate that as a milkshake IPA, which has some milk sugar, some lactose in it, and then vanilla. So it's like super creamy, a little like indulgent, a little pastry-like. And so we went out to Spinach Creek Farms, which Spinach Creek carrots, amazing, well-known in Fairbanks.
Okay.
And we got, I think, 200 pounds of carrots.
Oh, good Lord.
And borrowed a juicer, and we hand juiced 200 pounds of carrots. And then we dumped the carrot juice into the beer.
Oh, wow.
With some orange puree and some pineapple puree as well.
Yeah.
And I think that's probably the Bun on the Run, the Taste Good on the Bun collaboration series we've done with the Bun on the Run that people talk the most about.
Oh, wow.
And I think bring up the most. And so I think using a root vegetable in there was probably the most experimental, I think.
Okay. All right. Good deal. Now, so is that something that's, so is it like a seasonal, or is that like a one-time little deal right there for that one?
Yeah. So that was just a one-off, and every year,
Okay.
we kind of emulate a different pastry that they have.
Oh,
So we've done the first one we did was a blueberry cinnamon roll.
Yeah.
We've done a lemon bar. We did an orange cardamom bun.
Yeah.
So yeah, all sorts of different baked goods that they do.
All right. Awesome.
All right, continuing down the experimental and one-off train, what's something that surprised you that the customers loved?
Probably again that carrot cake beer. I would understand if they were suspicious when someone said, "How about you try this beer with carrots in it?" But that was a huge hit. And as Carey mentioned, that's probably still one of our most brought up beers for that series. No present plans to brew it again, but I wouldn't be opposed because it was a fun beer to do. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think another one, and this was actually kind of another one of the most experimental beers we've done. And I don't think we could recreate this one. I think it was just a convergence of a lot of random bits and pieces that came together in a very beautiful way.
Yeah.
But it was a beer that we brewed a couple times called Muskox Safari, which uses this Kvik yeast, which is like a Scandinavian yeast, kind of similar to a Saison yeast. So it was that. It was some wheat, some spelt in there, like 5% beer that we had aged in some dry fly whiskey barrels.
Oh, wow.
Which normally you age a little bit higher ABV beers in those, but that was when we first opened. So I was like, yeah, why not? Let's give it a try. Then we added in some Brettanomyces, which is another type of yeast that can produce some interesting, funky characters. It can also introduce some kind of nice pineapple or like cherry pie notes to it. And so we introduced that into this barrel and let that age for a while and called it Muskox on Parade.
Yeah.
And that was, I think, probably my favorite beer that we've ever done. But again, probably could never recreate that. But had some interesting, distinct flavors to it. And I was like, I don't know. I don't know if Fairbanks at that point had many Brettanomyces beers to it. So it was definitely a new flavor profile for Fairbanks and had a lot of people that really enjoyed it. So that was another surprising one.
All right. Very nice. Very nice.
So as you had mentioned earlier, when you guys decided to start the Black Spruce, Hoodoo was the only brewery other than like Silver Gulch, but that was more of a restaurant, I think. But I mean, they brew beer, but in town. And then you guys came in, and I was very excited. I think a lot of us brewery goers were very excited when you guys came in. And then it's grown since then. So you've been here, early on, I guess, in the stage, right? Was building a strong brand intentional from the start? Like, you guys are pretty well known in the community. Like, did you expect that, or was that something that came after the fact?
I think, given our experience, I knew that we would do well, but definitely did not anticipate having as much support from the community as we've had, and it's been very humbling. Having our regulars over the year, and like Tilden, like you were saying, people are like, oh, Black Spruce, oh, that Aroma Dome,
yeah,
and that's our biggest beer. Find that around town. Definitely did not anticipate having that sort of cult following, especially with the Aroma Dome. I mean, I had a feeling it was going to be a tasty beer, but did not anticipate it being that well received and that well loved. And I mean, people are defensive about it. And I mean, we really, really try hard not to run out of it at the tap room.
Yeah.
And a couple times that we have, people walk in.
Oh, you guys have run out of. Oh, you guys have run out of Ramadan.
On very rare occasions.
Oh, okay, all right.
People just turn around and leave. It's like, we have other good beers, but I guess not a Ramadan,
Yeah,
That's the one they want.
Yeah, exactly.
You guys are around Fairbanks, like as far as distributing to other like restaurants or whatever. Do you go out of Fairbanks?
Yeah, we do distribute down to the Anchorage area. We'll go down there once a month ish or so.
I thought I saw the Rona down there. I can't remember where.
Yeah,
I've seen it down there too, but I can't remember where.
Yeah, we've got a handful of accounts down there, like certainly enough to make it worth driving the box truck 7 hours south.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Sorry, Tobin, I segued.
No, bro, man, we segue here. All right, so this is a segue friendly zone.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, but like whenever I segue, you guys just can't get upset about it because I segue a lot. Okay, so you guys,
That's the drinking game, right?
there's no drinking
Every time
game.
you say segue, you take a drink.
There's no segues games, sir. There's no segue games. Fairbanks. Okay, so before we go any further, okay, so you guys know that you can find us on your usual suspects. You can find us on Spotify. You can find us on iPod Podcast. You can find us on. So where else are we? Oh, so social medias. We're on Facebook, and if you're watching this video, you can find us on YouTube, right? Our web manager over here for Facebook, that's Mr. Brandon Waller. So Never mind.
I posted the last episode.
Oh, you did post the last episode?
It didn't pop up.
Yeah, so it didn't pop up, but I'm gonna go back and check it out. Okay, so with our 5-part series of all the interior breweries, be sure to log in to Facebook to check them out and subscribe and like this page right here. And every time I get through posting a video, then you'll be the first to see it, right? Social medias for Black Spruce. Can we find you guys on social medias?
Yeah, for sure. Facebook and Instagram at Black Spruce Beer or blacksprucebeer.com.
Okay, so what I'm going to do is in the description for this episode right here, I'm going to provide the links for Black Spruce. So if you guys are interested in going online and seeing what they're about or coming down here, please feel free to do so. But we will post their descriptions and their locations on social medias in the description for this podcast right here on YouTube. So what separates breweries that last from the ones that don't? And so I don't even know if that's even a viable question, because I don't know of too many breweries in Alaska that have sprung up but didn't last. But let's just talk outside of Fairbanks and breweries in general, because I think that there was a major one that just went down. Rogue? Was it Rogue that just went under?
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, it did. And so they had a sriracha beer a couple of years ago that I went nuts over, because the beer bottle, it was a stout, and the beer bottle was red like a sriracha bottle, and it was a spicy beer, but they went out of business though. But anyways,
They were like one of the big time breweries.
exactly.
That's crazy.
Okay, so what do you guys think separates breweries that last from ones that don't?
Couple things, but I think also, like with the case of Rogue, huge bummer to see Rogue go out of business, because I know like that one really had a special place in my family's heart for a long time. Like I grew up in Washington State, and we went down to Newport a couple times, like specifically when I was like 7 or 8, because I wanted to go see Keiko from the Free Willy movies, and he was at the Oregon Coast Aquarium, and Rogue was right next door, and so we loaded up on their special Keiko root beer. And then my dad, of course, wanted to get some Rogue beer, and the little Rogue bottle with barley and dried hops in it, like sat in our little family curio forever. I'm sure my mom still has it at our house back home. But that was a big bummer. And I think with especially large businesses, different challenges than smaller ones. And, from where I'm sitting, I don't really see like anything that Rogue did wrong. Dead Guy Ale, everybody knows it. They diversified that brand. They introduced new ones that very much weren't Dead Guy, because amber ales just aren't the hot style that they were 20, 30 years ago or so, doing hard seltzers and like CBD drinks and stuff like that. But that's a really large company. I do not know the ins and outs of their finances and such over the years. But, even if you do have a really big, strong, recognizable brand like Dead Guy Ale, then, there can still be things happening behind the scenes that you don't know. So while my intuition is to answer, like, having a core brand that people really love and recognize, like, sometimes that is just not enough given the circumstances, though I think that certainly helps in having a pretty clear brand identity, while at the same time recognizing how the market is changing, where the market is changing. Something that's been highlighted to me in like a couple of brewery specific finance talks that I've gone to over the years is like really knowing when to cut a brand. Like even if it's one that is like near and dear to your heart personally, like if it's not hitting X, Y, and Z metrics, then it's probably not worth it to your business as a whole to keep it around. And so things like that, just being realistic, I think, about your business and what people are wanting from it. Because, maybe, I will say in my case specifically, I love brown ales. Brown ales are not going to outsell Aroma Dome anytime soon. So to see a brown ale on our menu now, no, you don't.
Nice. Okay.
I'm just thinking about my favorite brown ale, Moose Drool.
A classic.
Oh, yeah, that's a classic. Yep.
All right. So, what's been the toughest business decision for you guys so far?
I think the toughest business decisions that we have to make, and we have to reevaluate it constantly, is raising prices.
Yeah.
It's never something fun. We don't enjoy making people pay more for our beer. I wish we could sell it for cheaper.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, that's not the way the world works. We've got inflation, tariffs, everything going on. Our raw material costs change, rent goes up, insurance goes up, all of these factors that go into it. And that's always the toughest decision we have to make, is deciding when we have to raise prices, by how much, how long can we hold off before we raise prices. Because that's not a decision we make lightly ever. And when we have to do it, I think I try and push it off as much as possible until it's like, okay, this is getting irresponsible for the business.
Yeah.
Because hopefully the community sees we don't do it because we're trying to stuff our pockets, because we're not. We own a small brewery. We're not rolling in money. But we're doing it so we can continue to pay our employees more. We can keep the lights on. We can keep, aside from our employees, the most important thing for me is making sure that the quality of the beer never goes down.
Right.
I mean, those raw material costs go up over time, and we always want to make sure we're using the best malt, the best hops, the best fruits, best yeast, everything we can. And if we, have to spend a little bit more on that, and our consumers can recognize that what they're buying is a really quality, flavor-forward product, I think they're okay with it, but it doesn't make it any easier for us when we do have to make that call to raise prices.
Right. Okay, so so I will tell you though. I'll just add this though. If you do have to raise your price, I'm pretty sure that your customers, they will understand, because sometimes you got to do what you got to do, and we all know the state of the economy right now and what we're going through as far as fuel prices, and so fuel prices going up means that the cost of shipping the good to you to make your product, it goes up too. So, at the end of the day, if you have to add 50 cents, 75 cents, $1, I'm pretty sure, because people who come here to drink a beer, they can afford to come here to drink a beer, right?
Yeah, totally.
So then they understand. All right. So that's all I'm going to say on that. But what we're going to do, right, is we're going to, I think, Jeff's shoulder's in the way, but I think, nope, never mind. We are in your tap room right now, and we're on camera number 3, and we have a little visual of what's going on here. And, because this is a pretty cool place to hang out and have a beer, right? So what I want to do is, my question is, how would you describe the personality of Black Spruce?
I would say we're fun, hardworking, and curious.
Okay. Fun, hardworking, and curious.
Yeah.
Okay.
I can elaborate a little bit.
Oh, yes. Please do so. Please do so, sir. Please.
Fun, I think, kind of circling back around to our experimental nature with our beer. We do have some kind of more beer flavored beers that we love making, we love drinking, we love providing to the community, but we really love having fun with beers, and we also make ciders, and we actually just released our first hard seltzer yesterday.
Okay. All right.
And so that was a fun project to work on, and so I think some of the most joyous stuff for us here are doing those fun beers.
Yeah.
And really experimenting with flavors, kind of pushing the bounds, like that carrot cake milkshake IPA. So I guess that's probably the fun part of the personality. The hardworking is from day one. Steph and I have been owner operators.
Yeah.
So we're here every day. Steph's, heading up the tap room. She's pulling shifts there. She's organizing all of our orders for local deliveries. She, until recently, Jake just took over our local delivery route, so he's doing all the driving. We're in here scrubbing the floors, getting those clean. I do all of our production. So brewing, transfers, packaging, connect up with our accounts down in Anchorage to organize those deliveries. Jake drives those down. And we run a pretty lean crew up front too. So our beer tenders are, constantly moving, collecting classes, making sure everyone's having the best experience they can. And then the curious kind of ties back into the fun nature of it. We're always wondering, what's that next flavor that's really going to hit? What's going to go well with, that seltzer base? What pastry from Bun on the Run is going to translate best into a beer? What process improvements can we make to make the beer that much better?
Gotcha. Okay, good deal.
What kind of experience do you want people to have here?
Really just a good time. Just to have a place for them to go where they feel like they can relax, like they are welcome. We're very much in the more industrial part of town, but I don't want anyone to feel like, maybe they've been drinking Coors Light for 10 years and that's fine. I love a Coors Light every now and then. If you want to branch out, then great, come here. I'm happy to walk you through our lighter options to try something new. I want people to feel like they have the space to try that because we live in a world where there's many wonderful styles and flavors and people to meet and stuff like that. So having a genuinely welcoming space, also welcoming folks from all walks. I'm grateful to be a place for our neighborhood to come and relax a little bit at the end of the day. I'm happy to be a place that families can come and feel like there's something for everyone. We for years have just had buckets of sidewalk chalk out on the patio in the summer so that kids can be coloring on our nice flat concrete and enjoyed fruit soda or a root beer while their parents have an adult beverage and host a local food truck here so everyone can grab a bite to eat. And we're supporting another local business. If folks are just traveling through town, we do a ton of taster flights for them so that they can try a little bit of everything. So you certainly can't be everything to everyone, but we're trying our best and to make them truly feel like we're happy to have them here because we are.
Gotcha.
So I like the Coors Light thing. Coors Light, that's my moose can. I would drink that all day long. Moose can. But with that being said, what is your favorite beer outside of your own beer? Both of you.
Yeah. Tough to pick just one.
Okay.
But I would say a beer that I really enjoy whenever I get the chance to get it. And fortunately, it's based in Hood River, and my buddy works there. And I'm going to be going there in a couple weeks, is Freem Family Brewers, and their Pilsner is really good. It's won a ton of awards. And another one that I just look up to that brewery in general a lot because they're very quality focused, very continuous improvement focused. And that beer, they just have super dialed, really crisp, nice bitterness to it, nice kind of floral notes from the hops. And it's, I think it's like 4.8 or 4.9%. So kind of in that, not quite the Coors Light realm, but close to Coors. So you can have a couple and it's not a 6.8 or 8 or 10% beer that you can only, have one or two and should be stopping. But yeah, I love that beer and it's a treat whenever I get to have it.
Yeah. Very nice.
I think at least my beer du jour, a couple of weeks ago, Carey was out and about, and I texted and asked if he would pick up some Modelo from the store on his way home. Jonesing for a nice Mexican lager. So it's hitting the spot lately. Sadly, we don't have one on our own menu right now, but Modelo's crushing it. Why not get another one?
No doubt. Okay. All right. Okay. So before I go into the next question, so I do want to say there was one time I came in here and I think, to get a sour. And I walked in, and it was I don't know, it was a group meeting, and it was Zeb, it was Bobby, and I think you guys were sitting down at a table right over here. You guys were just all just mingling, I guess, visiting, right? And I thought that was the coolest thing, right, to see the unity in the Fairbanks community amongst brewers, to where it's like, yeah, in a way it's kind of sort of a competition, but then again, it's a way it's not, because we all understand that there's enough such to go around for everybody. All right, so there's no need to be enemies, and we can all go to each other's establishments and patronize each other, right? And then also gather and meet. I don't know what you guys are doing that day, but I was like, that's some pretty cool stuff. So having said that, and it doesn't necessarily have to be a brewer, but who pushes your creativity in Alaska? So is there like another, whatever it may be, that you like try to emulate, or so they inspire you to take the next step and go a little further?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think because we've been talking about kind of, focusing on the experimental nature of Black Spruce, I'll kind of go in that direction. And they're one of our kindred spirit breweries here in the state, and that's Devil's Club Brewing down in Juneau.
Okay.
And we're really good friends with the owners there, have done a lot of collaborations with them over the years, and they've come up here. We've gone down there. And the head brewer, Jake, down there is culinary background. And so his kind of thought process on flavors is really on point. And they're always doing these sorts of culinary pastry beers. And so some of the flavor combinations that he's come up with over the years, and kind of really interesting beers. We did one collaboration up here with them where Jake brought up some seaweed. And so we did we did a kelp rice lager.
Yeah.
I think kelp me or something like that. It was kelp, yeah. So it was just like a really fun, interesting beer that, he came up with that suggestion of using that seaweed from down there.
Oh, wow.
On the, right on the coast there.
So it had like a salty type of a saltiness type of profile to it.
Yeah,
I'm thinking.
just like a hint of salinity. I mean, almost like, some people put in like just a little bit of hint of salt in their light water or whatever.
Huh. Interesting.
So yeah, I talk with those guys all the time and kind of check out what they're brewing, and if they have something that's an interesting beer, I have a question about a specific ingredient that they've used, I can always reach out. And I don't think we're always trying to kind of outdo each other with off the wall beers, but
yeah,
it's definitely, I see them do something, I'm like, oh, that's really good. Yeah, I wonder if we can try that, but with this added.
Yeah, very nice. Okay.
So, in one word to describe your brewery.
I don't want to sound like I'm beating a dead horse here, but I think experimental.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, though I get that. So I get that. That's very fitting, I think. Yeah.
So what is your go-to off-day activity?
I ride my bike a lot. We're fortunate enough to live out by Esther Dome, and so access to the single track and the winter trails is like the key to getting through the winter happily. Not this last winter, but on a normal winter and summer. I like to get out on my bike a lot, and I was actually just thinking about, we hosted a talk a little while ago, and the fella that gave a talk, like I have run into him out on the trails multiple times, and he's like seen me at some of the local studios and stuff like that doing different things, and he was like, oh, I really appreciate that you and Carey are genuinely out in the community, and I see you all the time, like whether it's on the trails or engaging with other local businesses, this, that, and the other. Just like everyone else, we truly do live here. We'd like to enjoy the amenities that Fairbanks has to offer. And for me, then fat biking and mountain biking have been a couple of my favorite new hobbies since living here.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah, I love biking as well, winter or summer. And then winter specific curling, big curling fan. And then during the summer, play a lot of ultimate frisbee too.
Gotcha. Okay. Good deal. What's your biggest brewing fail? Have you had a biggest brewing fail since you've started in 2018?
Nothing major. But probably the one that I came closest to dumping it down the drain was this beer that we've done a handful of times called Purple Cone. It's kind of a contemporary Pilsner, so either New Zealand or U.S. hopped. And at that point, we were doing different hops every batch. And we used this New Zealand hop called Motair that we'd never used before. And on paper, it sounded like it was going to be really good. Like a little bit of kind of fruitiness, but still some of that noble, spicy character. Brewed the beer. It was tasting okay throughout the process and transferred into the bright tank and, clarified, settled out. It was nice and bright. Took a sample of it. Tasting it. Like, this kind of tastes like dirt. And it had just, some like really like kind of dirty, like loamy soil kind of character to it. I'm like, this is a little weird. Not exactly what I was expecting from this hop.
Yeah.
And I was kind of freaking out, pacing back and forth, like, I'm going to have to dump this batch of beer. And I go over to Steph and was fortunately the voice of reason. And she was like, well, do we have any hops in the cooler? You could just try dry hopping it and see if that like kind of plays well with the flavors. And I was like, okay, yeah, that's a good idea. A bag of hops is a lot cheaper than a full batch of beer. And spent a lot of time on a lager. And so dry hopped with some cashmere, let it sit for a day and tasted it. And lo and behold, the kind of really nice, like kind of melon fruity character from the cashmere.
Yeah.
Kind of melded and masked up a little bit of the kind of that loamy taste from the Motair. Mm-hmm. Let it sit for a couple days longer, and we ended up packaging it. And people really enjoyed that batch, and
nice.
have to dump it down. So we're
nice.
I was ready to.
Yeah.
Steph. Again, the voice of reason.
Very nice. Very nice.
I feel like that's kind of a great success story.
Yeah.
Like you were on the edge, but then you tried something and it turned out really good. So that's awesome.
Yeah.
So, if everything stopped tomorrow, what would be something you're most proud of?
I have really appreciated, and I've had like a couple people tell me this in person while I've been here in the tap room as of late. I'm really proud of creating a community space that really is focused on the Fairbanks community. Like we've been fortunate to work with a lot of terrific local organizations to help them with outreach and presentations or fundraising, just a lot of different things that I've really appreciated. Like we've kind of, again, cast a wide net and wanted to be a space for a lot of different people and a lot of different groups. And so that's meant a lot to me that we've had people recognizing that we've really built a space that is for Fairbanks, and look forward to continuing to do that more. But what about you, Carey?
I think my biggest thing would be actually what you said before, that so many people have told me, oh, I hate IPAs.
Yeah.
And then they have Aroma Dome and they're like, oh, that's actually pretty good.
Yeah, it is.
Like,
it is.
Yeah, I mean, that's you know, kind of what we strive for with our IPAs is that very drinkable, a lot more of the flavor and aroma of those hops rather than being bitterness that slaps you over the face, which, you know, those can be good in their time and place. But yeah, we really want to emphasize that flavor and aroma. And when people say they hate IPAs, try Aroma Dome, then they're like, oh, I like this IPA.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
That's what I want to
exactly.
hear.
Exactly. Because I know shame in my game, but I'm a Pilsner Miller Lite kind of guy, right? Yeah, but that aroma dome is pretty darn good. Before Brandon asks the last question and we get out of here, I'm going to preface it with this right here. Zeb and Andy, they want to know from Lat 65, they want to know, when are you guys going to collab again?
I don't know. Schedule master.
Josh has my number.
Oh, okay. Josh, you heard that. And Josh, you have his number. Andy, Zeb, Josh has his number.
I think it's their turn to host anyway.
It is their turn to host.
Oh, so the plot thickens. It's your turn to host. So
I think someone's getting called out here.
I think someone's getting called out.
Shots fired.
Shots fired. Brandon, take it away, sir.
So with that being said, Humble Roots is going to be our next stop. What should we ask Humble Roots when we sit down with him?
I saw Talon in here earlier. I was just making sure he's not around. Assuming he will be who you chat with, I would want to know, Talon, which Pokemon would you be and why?
All right.
Talon's a big Pokemon.
Which Pokemon would Talon be and why? Okay. All right. Then we're going to add that to
Now
our
I want
questions. Exactly.
Food for thought.
Questions. Okay. So on that note, it's 2:17. I know we got to get out of here. Are there any segues that we need to ask before we get out of here, before we end this segment?
I mean, you guys are at 9 years. You're about to be at 10. Are you doing a big anniversary?
We will when we hit 10. We'll only be 8 this year, so we still have 2.5 years to ponder it.
I thought you said that earlier. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Okay. Never mind.
Okay.
Question invalid.
Okay, so in 2.5 more years, be looking out for the big 10-year anniversary for Black Spruce, guys. All right, so on that note, I know you guys you guys got to get out of here for prior engagement. We're gonna go ahead and end this segment. So no more questions. Is there anything you want to ask us?
Ooh, I came ready to answer questions.
Okay, so just want to make sure, because I think Andy and Zeb asked us some questions last time, so we just want to make it fair for everybody.
And I appreciate that.
Okay, so on that note, you guys ready? My name is Tilden.
Jeff?
I'm Brandon.
Stephanie.
Carey.
And this was 36 the podcast. Stay tuned for our next episode in our 36 on tap interior breweries, where we will be hitting up Humble Roots in downtown Fairbanks. We are out. Peace.
Podcast 36.